Hey guys, Jeremy from Archeryshack. We got something a little different this time. We've got a recurve to set up. We got a Samich Sage 45-pound right-handed recurve. Just made a flow orange string for it. We're going to put it together. We're going to put the new string on it, put some silencers on it. We got some arrows. We're going to kind of do a little tuning with it and figure out what length to cut the arrows. Figured it'd be something different than the normal. So let's put this thing together. The Samich Sage is a pretty good option for a cheaper recurve. So there's a lot of different recurves made by this same company, and I feel positive it's coming out of China, but I have ordered through the years several different models from different manufacturers, and it's the same recurve. So, pretty basic. I'm just going to screw these screws out of the limb. Stick the limb in there. Screw that in. This is a 45-pounder, which is what I'd recommend between a 35 and 45 for an adult. You don't want to get, if you're going to hunt with it, this guy's wanting to hunt with it, I'd probably recommend a 45. But if you get like 50 or more, it really starts, it's a lot of weight unless, oh, I dropped that. It's a lot of weight unless you're used to it. So I'd be more concerned with being accurate than drawing more than 45. But 45 is probably the most common recurve poundage that we see. So here's what it looks like, and you can look, if you look online, there will be ones that look just like this. It just won't say Samich Sage on it. It's got this little thing made in the riser. It does have it tapped if you wanted to put some kind of rest on it. We're going to shoot off the riser on this one though. So let's get the limbs. So let's string it, and we'll go from there. The way I normally do this is there's a big loop, I slide it over one limb, click the bottom loop on. You definitely want to use a stringer. I know you can wrap it around your leg and all that, but it can warp the limb, so we're not going to go that route. Click the stringer on, make sure you got it good and seated. Uh-oh. Goodness. Make sure you got it good and seated in that string slot, because you don't want that thing to, there we go, come off on you. So what we're going to do here is put this on top of the limb. So now what the stringer ultimately does is sort of draw it back, and then you just click the string on. Afterwards, always make sure you're in the groove good. You don't want it to jump off or anything. So now we got a nice bright orange string. We'll put it in the bow vise. We're going to start off by putting some, he wanted some orange cat whiskers, so this will serve a couple purposes. A lot of people ask me how to tie these on, so you're about to get a lesson on that. And it is the cat whiskers are still a good way to silence a compound or a recurve. So I'm just cutting them. This is a long strip. I'm just cutting them into I'm gonna cut 4 strips total, the same length. We're going with an orange theme here, as you can tell. So I'm going to use some orange BCY 3D serving. Okay. So here's, let me lay this down so I can talk. I usually just stack them on top of each other like so. Hold them like that. I'll take my serving, kind of pin it to the middle. I'll wrap it around one time that way and the other piece the other way, and then I really pull it tight. So that cinches it down. Throw a knot in it. Okay. Then I'll wrap them back around one more time, throw a knot in it, and then I'll lock that knot down. Get it real tight. If you don't get this pretty snug, they will fly apart on you. Let me find a lighter. Here we go. So I burn that. Try not to catch the rubber on fire because it'll smell awful. I'll kind of burn that down. Then I'll take these, kind of break them in half. And then all you got to do is give them a little tug and they pop out. Look kind of fancy, like you're giving somebody a haircut. Y'all didn't know I was a barber. I wish I was. I could save some money on hair. Archeryshack barbershop and recurve tuning facility. Alright, so we'll get all our big pieces. Let's see what this tip's gonna weigh total. Woo, that's a 300 grain tip. And that's what he wanted to shoot, so that's fine. So that'll probably even out these arrows being 400. So I'm gonna leave it full length, stick it in there, go shoot it a little bit, see if the paper tuner tells us to cut it any, and then let's see what length they are to start with. Sometimes it works out to where full length is the way to go. You know, they're about 32 1/4. So let's stick this in there and go shoot it. I'm gonna go ahead and glue this one tip in. I usually like to just start with one and tune it, and then that way we can get, once we get this one going good, we can cut the rest of them off. So he's got these. The only thing I would probably change, these tiny little feathers are really meant for more of a compound setup. I would want like a 4 or 5 inch heavy helical, but that's what we got to work with, so we'll see what we can do. Okay, let's go back to the paper tuner. There's a couple ways to tune this thing, alright? I don't want to take these fletchings off because he's already got a match set, and I don't have these fletchings here, so I'm gonna shoot it through the paper tuner and try to get the cleanest tear I can. Really, the better way to do it is to go outside with some bare shafts with a recurve, believe it or not, and that'll really tell you where the spine is at if you go out with a bare shaft and a fletch shaft. Maybe we can do another video on that, on some arrows I can play with, or I've got a recurve we could do it with. But for this particular setup, since we don't want to unfletch these or anything or strip them, we're just going to shoot it through the paper tuner a little bit, and play with our knot height and our length and get it the best we can. And then it should be good to go. At least when he comes back, we'll go outside and see how it shoots for him, but that'll get us going. Alright, so I'm going to back up a little further than I normally would because I want to give this arrow time to clean up a little bit. Coming straight out of the bow, it's going to fly crazy because you got feathers hitting the shelf and all this stuff. I'm going to back up probably to 8 yards, 9 yards and see where we start at. And then I'm going to ultimately adjust my knot height according to how the arrow is going through paper. And then according to how bad of a left or right kick we got, I may shorten the arrow up a little bit. And it is a heavy tip, so I may cut it down an inch or two and see what happens. But let's just shoot it one time and see what happens. And you know, the recurve, it's easy to short draw it and let it go, so I try to hit the corner of my mouth with usually with my pointer finger, and then that's kind of where I release. So now that's actually a little better tear. It's just a high kick. I'm going to bring my knocking point down just slightly and see if that does anything. So once you get to shooting these at home, I mean, this is something you could kind of play with in the yard, and I would definitely recommend it because everybody's going to shoot different. You know, move it a little bit, shoot a group, and then move it. You know, sort of a group tune is what I'm accustomed to doing with a recurve. This is a good starting point. But let's just see what that did. I moved it down to where we're probably about an 1/8 inch high. So that's not that bad. That cleaned up a lot. We went from this to that. Let's see what his total arrow weight's gonna be. It's gonna be heavy. Pretty much 619. Let's see what it chronographs. $135. So I'm gonna actually step outside with the same arrow, the way we've got it, and just shoot it a few times. I want to see it, like, 20 yards, what it's flying like, and that sort of thing. So we got a decent paper tune, and like I say, paper tune is sort of a starting point. I think after that, if you really want to get it right, do a bare shaft out of a recurve, and it'll tell you. We can go into that in another video. It'll really tell you about the spine. We hadn't cut these arrows. They are a 400 spine, so they're going to be stiff for this setup, but he did want a 300 grain tip, so I think we're going to be okay like they are, full length, but I want to shoot it a few times and see how it flies. Doesn't look bad. Let's shoot it a couple more times. So we're going to shoot it again at 20. First shot did not look bad at all. Let's see what this one does. He did want to shoot 3 under. You have a choice, traditional, to shoot split finger or 3 under. I like to shoot 3 under because sometimes when I shoot split finger, that birdie finger will catch the knock and lift it up. And I know that's just me, and my form's not the greatest for a recurve, but we're shooting 3 under. Thanks for watching, guys. If you were to need a Samich Sage or a recurve, give us a call at 864-735-8484. We'll be happy to get you set up. We got this one pretty close until the customer comes in tomorrow, and then we'll have him shoot it. But I'm really happy with this setup so far. And thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Subscribe if you hadn't already.